Hey guys, welcome to that 1870s homestead. We're here for the August-July garden tour. Garden's just back around this corner and I can't wait to share it with you, but before we head out there, let's take a look back at July, just a peek at what the July garden looked like, because the August garden looks completely different. So let's head on back, but you guys take a look. This is my August garden. Completely different, right? So we're completely switching over to fall crops for the most part. So let's walk around and let's see what's going on and what's changed. Well, as you can see, I harvested all my potatoes. They are gone. The lettuce is gone. I've got this one lettuce left going to flower head, and then I'll let the bees handle that business and maybe harvest some seed. I have a beautiful squash here growing. Don't remember the variety, but I'm excited to see what it is. And the sweet potatoes are jamming. In the last video, I told you guys that I would be harvesting some of these potato leaves because they are edible. The vines, the leaves, it's very common in Asian cultures, in India, the Philippines. And a lot of my viewers from over there have given me lots of great ideas on how to eat them. We have not done that yet just because I've been managing the harvest that I'm used to, but I still hope to try that. So I've just been taking up the vines. As you can see, these big ones would have been sprawling out and I flipped them back on top of themselves. Sweet potato vines will reroot themselves. And it's okay to do that in the bulk of your bed, but if you let all the vine do that, you're going to rob some of the energy from getting your big tubers. So I'm trying to do a better job at managing the vines this year. Now behind me, oops, I'm in the way. See that sad little patch of cucumbers? My cucumbers did not work this year. I've already pulled so many because they got blight really bad. So I've got another set of cucumbers going. Let me take you over there and show you those. Okay, so I feel like Miss Amy Fuel, that's hosting this collaboration over at Homesteaders of America, she would be remiss if I only showed you the good. So as you can see, I have completely lost my Brussels sprouts to cabbage moths. I am going to pull these out. I know I have a local farmer that produces wonderful Brussels sprouts that I can just go to the farmer's market and get Brussels sprouts from him. But down in here, all these little cuties are cucumber plants that are starting. So I've got tons of them. I'm going to put my trellis back here after they get a little bit bigger. And I need to get these out of the way actually to give them more sun. And I hope to have a nice still yet fall crop of cucumbers come in. But while we're over here, look at that right there. That big, beautiful Cinderella pumpkins. Guys, I'm doing it with the squash this year. So stick around and make sure you're subscribed if you're not, because I did a lot of different tricks with my squash plants this year that I think is truly paying off, keeping them alive, at least from the squash vine borers. I've never been this successful before. So I want to share that tip with you, but I need to share it in another video because a lot of people are following that journey elsewhere. So squash plants and pumpkin plants are doing great. But look behind me, guys. This is getting kind of jungly. This is, yeah. This is the crazy row. So down here, I have a few Blue Lake bush beans. Let me just grab one to show you. Yeah, not too many. For whatever reason, my Blue Lake bush beans didn't germinate super well that I planted over here. I've been harvesting them usually once a week. I'll come out here and do a big bean harvest on these, and then I'll show you my trellis where I'm growing the pole beans. They're doing great. This is a crazy cherry tomato that's just completely out of control. So I'm just letting it do its thing. It's kind of tricky to get up and under here and harvest stuff, but I'm doing it. Okay, but down this row, I initially had peas planted. I'll throw in a clip right here. I've actually come back and done a huge beet planting for fall. They are all coming up great. really excited about this. This bed is where I had the best beet germination from my spring planting, and I lost almost all of those from that late freeze. So behind me, though, I also have a bunch of tomatoes. I came back through maybe 2 weeks ago now and planted another row of tomatoes so I can have more. I was just getting a little nervous whether I was going to have enough. So these are already flowering and looking great. So yeah, and then behind those guys, let me see if I can't get you in there and show you. I think you guys can see the yellowing pods there. Those are Black Lake turtle beans, and they're getting ready to dry on the vine. If I'm careful, I might be able to reach in and pick one off and just show you. I'm really, really excited. Okay, I got one. Let's get out of here. Okay, so I peeked at one of these earlier this week just to see what it looks like inside. I've never grown black beans, so I'm really excited. It'll be interesting. Oh yeah, see? Now, what I plan on doing is just letting those plants pretty well die back and all the pods turn brown, and then we'll take them in and dry them. Isn't that neat? So I also, at the end of the row back here, have some Hank's Extra Special baking beans that I've planted. And I think what I'm going to do, because I didn't have very many seeds of those, I'm just going to harvest them for the seeds this year and then plant a bigger crop next year. But take a look at that trellis. That trellis looks way different from last month. Let's go take a look at it. I'm in here. Can you see me? Yes, it is so thick and big. And I've got just awesome, beautiful Blue Lake pole beans growing on them, my absolute favorite variety. You guys will have green beans coming out of your ears planting this variety. We've already had a sunflower pretty much done. It's gone to seed. I should actually harvest this and let it dry. The birds have just been going at it, which I'm fine. Give the birds something to do. They don't eat my tomatoes, right? So, and then on top of here, I have a, what was it? Some other type of squash. I'll throw in a picture and see if you guys can't help me guess. A table king squash or something like that. I'm sure I have the stick in the ground somewhere. Okay, that's him right here. Isn't it beautiful? And the squash vine is growing up over the green bean vine, and it's really, really pretty. But isn't it so beautiful in here? Just picture perfect. And look at all those green beans. Green beans. I love growing vertically. If you're not growing vertically, it's a great way to increase the amount of garden space you have to grow. Okay, but we're gonna head now to the west wall. A lot's changing there too, so let me give you an update. So I'm finding that growing zucchini vertically, I don't know that while it's convenient for space, definitely takes up a ton less space, I don't think it's as productive for the plant. And it's challenging for the gardener, me, to, I guess, help it train properly. So right now I'm having to adjust it again because it got too big for its britches. And I broke this one doing this exact same thing like a week ago. So it's very, like, once they get up and heavy, they're not, I guess they're just not meant to be trained this way. So they are weakened a little bit. But as you can see, I've got beautiful flowers in there, zucchini. It's just not as prolific as a normal zucchini plant. So here's one, for example. I'll just harvest him. See, I'm still getting zucchini off of it, beautiful zucchini, but It's not being as prolific as the zucchini plants that I'm letting grow naturally. Here is my Roma tomatoes, doing great. I'm getting a ton of those every day. And then down here is my fall carrot planting, which started out absolutely amazing. If you missed that video, I did probably a two or three part series on planting them during the midsummer heat, how I helped them germinate using a little trick, and then I messed up. So see this patch right here? That patch of green behind me? That's carrots. You don't see that anywhere else. I have random carrots everywhere else. But that patch, I actually planted without any shade cloth, any protection, and they germinated great and fine. Everything else, I heavily protected with shade cloth after they germinated. It just happened that I didn't have enough shade cloth to reach that one section. And oh my goodness. Hold on a second. Let's just admire this beet for a minute. That's exciting. You guys know what this beet is? Here's an idea for you. When I sowed my spring carrots and they came up, I noticed a lot of holes in my carrot spacing. And everywhere there was a hole in my carrot spacing, I plugged in a beet. And then the beets got shaded out by the carrots. Then once I harvested the carrots, the beets had room to grow. Looky there, beautiful. Anyway, that being said, I just made a mistake this year, the first time trying to sow carrots again for a fall crop. And I think that I should have just let them harden off naturally and not protected them because they got shocked real bad when I took that shade cloth off and I lost a lot. But it's a lesson learned, and that's what I knew it would be. It would be nothing more than a learning opportunity for me to see if I could do it and what works. Now see that big bush right here of tomatoes? I want to go down there and talk to you guys about that. It's a new variety and I'm highly impressed. So again, I'm just going to look down here before we get into the tomatoes. And this is like carrot, 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 carrot. So it's very random, not a lot of success here. But let's talk about the tomatoes. So these tomatoes, 1, 2, 3, those 3 plants in this cluster, which is crazy ginormous. I don't have near big enough trellis system for them. They are something called the Super Fantastic. If I can get you guys down here, I'll zoom in a little bit. Yeah, I think you guys can see now. Look at those absolutely stunning tomatoes in there. Just absolutely beautiful. And if they taste good and if they make great sauce, I will grow those again for sure, because they are a super producing tomato plant for me. Now we're gonna go back and finish our walk around the walls. This little spot has changed quite a bit down here. And you're gonna see that like the Swiss chard has been pulled. I had tatsoi in here that's been pulled. This is cilantro that I'm letting go to seed for the coriander. And then these are all jade beans, and they're just setting beans. Still pretty small. I've never grown jade beans before, but I'm excited about them. And then back here, I have 2 sugar pie pumpkins growing, and they're still doing great. Can you guys believe that? No death in my pumpkin plants? That's crazy. So I've never ever successfully grown pumpkins all the way through to be vine ripened. So that'll be fun this year. Now, we got a lot to talk about on this row. It's exciting. So what was here last time you guys were out with me? I think cabbage was here and broccoli on the other side. But if you come down here now, what you're gonna see is cucumbers. I need to get a trellis, a small trellis in here for those. And this, guys, is lizard spinach. Lizard spinach, I believe, is what it's called, or crocodile spinach from Haas Tools. And you guys, I'm crazy impressed with the germination I've gotten from that. We have some peppers, habaneros in here growing. I planted out the center row. We'll see if I can't point out some with more beets. These are all little beet seedlings coming up. And then that back trellis right back there, doesn't that look, oh, I just love clean lines. And my square foot gardening template gives me those nice clean lines. That is white Dixie butter peas, another new variety that I've never grown before. I'm excited to grow them. And thanks for those of you that gave me ideas on how to preserve and store them. So I think I'm ready with what my plan is. And then down the way, we have two of my naturally growing beautiful zucchini plants. They're doing great, and they're giving me probably two zucchini every 5 days or so. And that wraps up this row, but let's head to the front so I can show you what these gorgeous tall flowering sunflowers look like. I still have 3 heads of cabbage that I'm letting finish up here, but would you look at that? Woo. She is 10 foot tall, guys. That is I'm gonna go stand next to it so you can see it. That's a lemon queen sunflower. Can you see me? She's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I love her. But we still have 6 raised beds to talk about. I'm gonna try to go through it quickly for you. We'll see how well, you guys, this comes up on camera. So I have broccoli all down the center. This is more crocodile spinach over here and beets on this side. I've done this exact same planting in that bed behind me, just 1 week apart. So that bed, the seedlings are just coming up. The far back bed I did a little bit differently, so I want to take you guys around and show you what I did over there, and then we'll pretty much wrap up the garden tour for this season. But first, let's just stop and look at this pepper bed. This is my pepper bed, guys, and it is absolutely insanely productive. I have never ever needed to stake up pepper plants. They just have never needed it because they've never gotten that big. And my plants are like, help! I don't have any stakes for them. But these are banana peppers up here, jalapenos in the middle, bell peppers at the back, and a Romani pepper. And they are doing so good. This is the year of the peppers in my garden. I'm picking them every single day. Okay, so we're back at the bed where I harvested that beet from, and this bed was planted out with what I call my sauté greens. We've got bok choy in here, tatsoi, kale, what else? Collards. This almost looks like collards right here. Cilantro and beets. So, you know, for the beet greens or the beets themselves. And it's all coming up pretty good. I'm not quite sure how well that's going to turn out, but it looks like everything's germinating perfectly. So the only bed that I haven't planted out yet is the bed right behind it. And that's this bed. And if you guys are new here and you don't know what I was originally growing, for my spring planting, every raised bed in my garden was onions down the sides, carrots in the middle. So just to give you an idea of what I rotated from. This is not planted out yet, but this will be what I hope to be my overwinter salad box. So I'm gonna let this sunflower back here, isn't she a beauty? So cute, total volunteer, came from the compost. I'm going to let this bed finish out and we will plant. Where did you come from? I am going to plant, stay focused Rachel, my lettuce, salad greens in here, and hopefully have Todd build me a box that will carry me through an extended season. So guys, I hope Oh, wait, one more thing. Can you give me one more minute? There's one more thing I really want to show you. So this borage, that's what borage will do after it gets too big for its own self to hold itself up. This is 3-year-old borage. This is first-year borage. This borage self-seeded itself this year in one of my raised beds, and I didn't have the heart to pull him out. And isn't it just beautiful? That is the thing you need to know about borage. If you're gonna plant it, it is so easy to self-seed. You will never have to plant it again. You just might have to pull it out from where you don't want it. It's not necessarily invasive by any means. It'll just go wherever you let it go. So that, guys, is what I want to talk about right up there. So tell me your thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Why is it that volunteer things are often the best crops you'll ever grow? This is a volunteer cherry tomato that I'm just gently trying to help do its thing. And it was so big it's kind of fallen over now. But you know what it is. I know it's from M.I. Gardner, and it is I think a Black Beauty cherry tomato. It's some type of, it gets kind of purple on the bottom and green on the top. I harvested most that were ripe yesterday. But I'm, of course, honoring it, giving it its place in the garden. It fought hard to last all winter long and come back this year, so it deserves a chance. So thanks guys for coming out to the garden and seeing the August garden. I know it looks completely different. It's a new slate, a new blanket that's gonna carry us through the end of the season, and I'm really excited. So I have one more of these garden tour guys with Homesteaders of America. I hope you've been checking out the playlist of everybody else that's joining in, because you're getting to see all types of gardening styles, all types of sizes of gardening, and this just happens to be ours here in Southeast Michigan. Thanks for joining us at that 1870s homestead, and I'll talk to you later.